the process of making energy. They can be autotrophs that make their own energy from inorganic substances which are non-living, like sunlight or chemicals. Mainly plants, some bacteria, things like that. We are heterotrophs. We have to eat other things. Hetero means other, feeder. This is self-feeder. So we have to eat other living things in order to get energy. Now, there's two ways we can do it. We can use it with oxygen or without oxygen. If we have no oxygen, we use a process called fermentation. If you like spicy words, another word for no oxygen is anoxic or anaerobic. An means not, no air. Whereas if you do use oxygen, you would be called cell respiration, because inside your cell it's kind of using gases like we do breathing. So it's respiration inside your cells. I'm just going to abbreviate. Now that one would be called aerobic because it uses air. Alright, we do both of these. We're going to start with this one, and then because if we have air available, we're going to go on and break it down further. So these guys make the sugar, and then we eat it. So we steal it from them. So we're going to start that process inside the cell. So this is your giant animal cell. You're going to start with the sugar. The sugar we use is glucose, or dextrose. And it's C6H12O6. That's a very exciting number, I know. It's a hexagon, six-sided, and it's got some sugar. Now, the actual structure of the sugar is a little spicier. I'm just going to say it's got 6 carbon, even though there's like a side chain and all that fun stuff. Each one's carrying a set of hydrogen twins, and oxygen is like their pet dog. This is simplified. And I don't want to draw that off. First step that doesn't require oxygen is called glycolysis. Glucose lysing. Lysing means to split. So glycolysis is the splitting of sugar. Well, how are you going to get it to split? You're going to need to use some energy. So you're going to spend 2 ATP, which is a molecule that carries energy. And that's going to split this in half. You're going to snip it right down the middle. So you're going to make 2 molecules now that only have 3 carbons. They still have their hydrogen twins for each carbon and their oxygen dog. But you have 2 3-carbon molecules. That releases, because every bond you break, those bonds are storing energy, they're also going to release energy. So you're going to make 4 ATP. So you're still ahead. You spent 2 ATP, but you made 4. Not bad. But we're a big organism. We can't survive on 4 ATP. We're going to need to break that down further to get more energy. That's when we're going to break down what's left from the sugar called pyruvate. And there's 2 of them. I'm going to only deal with this guy for now. Now, pyruvic, I kind of make it sound like an alarm is going off because it's been broken. We're going to take that to the mitochondria and use oxygen to break it down further. But, like on a hot date, you don't want a third wheel. So they only want 2 carbon. They get rid of one of the carbon. Carbon's going to leave our body as CO2. So 1 carbon leaves, now you're down to 2. Which is perfect, because on your hot date, you're going to go for a roller coaster ride. That roller coaster is called the Krebs cycle. Also now called the citric acid cycle, because this 2-carbon molecule, called the acetyl group, I always remember because it sounds like 2-seater, and you're fitting in a 2-seater roller coaster, and that's why you couldn't have your third friend come. And this roller coaster, that's going to be an enzyme. Enzymes carry you through reactions. They help the reactions process, but they are not changed themselves. So this is coenzyme A. This group of molecules is called citric acid. That's why it's now called the citric acid cycle. So the first step is the carbons did not wear their seatbelts on this roller coaster. Not good. So when the enzyme takes them over the first hill, one of the carbons falls out. Carbon leaves our body as CO2. You exhale. Okay? Well, they were carrying those hydrogen twins we talked about, and the oxygen leaves with them. Those hydrogen twins are actually storing all the energy left over from photosynthesis. When the plants took the energy and put it into the hydrogen, they're still there. So they want to keep that energy. So, luckily, there's a molecule that swings past, and he picks them up and he saves them. He's kind of like a parachute. His name is Nad. That's pretty cool. He saves them. Alright, but we still got a carbon riding in the little roller coaster. He didn't learn from his brother, and he's still not wearing his seatbelt. So he gets to the first loop and falls out. And again, that's coenzyme A. He's going to leave a CO2. The hydrogen that he had are saved by, this time Fad. Fad's Nad's cousin. You didn't know about him. So Fad's going to save the hydrogen because they're carrying all that energy. And meanwhile, coenzyme A is going to go back up and catch the next victim. Because remember we said that we had another pyruvic half over here that we didn't do yet. So he's going to come back empty and wait for the next one. Notice coenzyme A has not been changed. So Nad and Fad, where are they going to take these hydrogen now that they have them? Well, they're going to take them to the electron transport chain. ETC for short. It's a series of molecules. The first one, the acceptor. He's kind of like a bucket. So Nad and Fad drop off the energized hydrogen, put them into the membrane. There they're stuck. Steals their electrons, which are actually where all the energy is being smuggled, and passes those electrons down this molecule chain. The energy from the electrons opens it up, kind of like photosynthesis, and that's going to allow the hydrogen to escape. Until, of course, that big bully at the end catches all the hydrogen and pumps them back through. So the hydrogen get pumped through, and this time they're going to be added to oxygen. Oxygen comes back, that's what we inhale, and it's going to be used to carry away the hydrogen. And they get their electrons back because once the electrons are empty of energy, they get put back in the hydrogen. And now they're going to leave as a little happy family as H2O, water. And what's going on up here, we didn't mention that, but this spinning, this hydrogen pump, as it pumps hydrogen through, starts to spin. And so when that spinning energy is transferred to a molecule of A double phosphate. It's got 2 phosphates on it. While a third one's waiting to be added, well, when that spinning action releases energy, it adds the third one, and now you just created ATP. ATP is like money, currency. You can go spend it in the body. It's a usable form of energy our muscles can use, anywhere in our body can use. So by the time you're done, you only made 4 ATP over here. You made another 30-some over here. So that's why bigger organisms are going to need to use air or aerobic. So this part is aerobic because it uses the oxygen to collect the hydrogen. So to summarize this whole process of cell respiration, you're going to take sugar, C6H12O6, and you're going to split it. Well, in order to do that, you need oxygen to burn it. And you're going to technically need 6 oxygen if you want to be precise. And that's going to release energy, but also 2 waste products, CO2 and H2O. The energy is now in the form of ATP and heat. Actually, 90% of your energy is wasted as heat, and that's why you get so hot when you're spending a lot of energy. This is the exact opposite of photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, you're taking energy from the sun, you are adding it to CO2 and water, and that was making the sugar and leftover oxygen. And now you're going to take the oxygen, burn the sugar, to release that energy. And you're going to give off the CO2 and the water like they were just wrapping paper you're throwing away. The end.